Before I start, can I just say how weird it is that there is no Blu-ray release for this movie? Like, is that just a normal thing with Scooby-Doo? What, so a kid can't have their movie in 1080p? What's the deal, Warner Brothers? Anyway, so here it is, the big one. Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. That, or the full title, Straight Outta Nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. And that title couldn't be more accurate, because this special feels like something that should have happened 20 years ago. It's crazy how long this took to happen. The closest thing to a crossover were a few Cartoon Network bumpers during a Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog scare-a-thon that happened back in 2000, which honestly sounds like the perfect way to spend the day, if you ask me.
Like, dig this, yappy dog. We'll handle all the creepy villain angles on this network.
But there's just something about a Courage and Scooby-Doo crossover that's always been so enticing. I mean, when you've got two successful cartoons featuring a scared dog who faces off with monsters and ghouls, both of them on the same network, you have to ask yourself why an official crossover episode never happened at any point. But now that it has happened, I made sure to seek it out the day it released to see what all of the fuss is about. Because truth be told, this was one of the movies from 2021 that I was most excited for, seeing as I really like both shows a lot. And was this movie worth the wait? Absolutely. I mean, another direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movie isn't anything groundbreaking, but this fully surpassed a lot of my expectations. As excited as I was for this movie, I was also pretty unsure about it as well, just based on a lot of the recent direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies. For anyone who hasn't been keeping track, a lot of the recent direct-to-video films have gone back to this idea of the monsters always having to be some guy in a mask. I don't really take issue with that specific idea. I mean, that's what made Scooby-Doo Scooby-Doo in the first place. Rather, it's the way that they go about writing it that often bothers me. Velma is one of my biggest problems with these recent films, with her repeatedly acting like a know-it-all, resulting in you actually wanting her to be wrong, only for her to always be right in the end. But maybe that's just something that bothers me and no one else, who knows. There's also been an overabundance of crossovers lately, which has always been a Scooby-Doo thing, but some of them have just gotten really obscure and weird. Like, the Sword and the Scoob had a secret Thundar the Barbarian cameo. Like, what was up with that? While still a crossover, this movie is an entirely different kind of beast that does a swell job at separating itself from those other movies. Compared to those, this really feels like a non-canon episode of a TV show, only movie length, and I'm completely on board with it. The plot of this movie begins when Scooby hears a sound that causes him to run off to the middle of nowhere, which I guess happens to be pretty close to somewhere. The gang chase after Scoob as he runs into Courage. Muriel invites her new guests in, which leads to a mystery involving giant cicada bugs. And obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but I don't want to give away too much. First of all, I just want to say that this movie is adorable. Scooby and Courage have a super cute dynamic, and I love just seeing the two of them hanging out, eating food and such. This movie is far more Courage the Cowardly Dog than it is Scooby-Doo, which is what I really loved about it. Seeing as it takes place in nowhere, there's plenty of references throughout that fans of Courage will definitely notice. It never really felt like too much to me either, mostly just portraits and fun Easter eggs in the background that are fun to point out while you're watching. It also really embraces the weirdness of Courage. This movie is not afraid to get strange, which is how a crossover with Courage really should be. The animation itself here is really bouncy and fun for the most part, and there's even some more, I want to say, experimental stuff that I really enjoyed. I wouldn't mind getting less Scooby-Doo movies a year in favor of better animation, but whoever the team they hired here were, they did an excellent job. It really is one of the more expressive Scooby-Doo movies I've seen in some time. However, I think it is worth mentioning a few of the elephants in the room because there's quite a few elephants in this room. For one, John R. Dilworth, the creator of Courage the Cowardly Dog, had no involvement in this movie. I really don't know too much about this, and I'm not sure if that was his own choice to not be involved or if the studio simply never thought to ask. If that's the case, then that would be mighty shitty of them. I'm also unsure of the status of the rumored Courage prequel series from a few years back. I've heard some people online say that it got canceled with the AT&T merger and all, while Others are saying that it's still in the works, so I'm hoping that's true. The director of this film is Cecilia Aronovich, who appears to be new to making Scooby-Doo direct-to-video movies, but I really did feel she had a passion for Courage the Cowardly Dog that showed here. I don't know much about her career other than she worked as a supervising director on some episodes of the recent Harley Quinn animated series, so that's pretty dope. As far as the characters of Eustace and Muriel, both of them are as lovable, well, maybe not Eustace, as ever. Eustace, however, is this time voiced by Jeff Bergman after the character's previous two voice actors passed away, although I did feel Jeff did a more than excellent job in the role.
Getting your fur all over my seat and slobbering all over the place. Don't touch nothing! Stupid dogs.
This is also, sadly, the last time we'll ever hear Thea White as the voice of Muriel in a new Courage project, as she passed away in July of this year. I'm just glad she got the chance to do one more role for the fans to enjoy, because she'll be missed dearly.
Sweetie, why don't you invite all your new friends inside? I'm making my special Scottish dream cookies with extra butter.
Now, this is a movie that I really have no problems with. If I had to pick one thing to complain about, there is a sequence featuring Eustace doing a out of nowhere rap, which really feels like just a way to kind of pad out the time. But whatever, it's a kid's film, I really don't care. Other than that, there's not much else to say about this movie. I really had a lot of fun watching it. I think that both kids from the 90s and early 2000s will appreciate it the most, but it's a movie that modern kids can still enjoy too. It's a lot more toned down in comparison to some of the creepier Courage episodes, so it might even be a good gateway into the old cartoon for them. I wouldn't call this movie anything life-changing, but what piece of Scooby-Doo media really is. It's a lot of fun and made with a lot of love and care, and for those reasons, well worth checking out. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or subscribe to this channel. Feel free to check out some of the other many videos on my channel. I do a lot of reviews for cartoons like this one. Thank you again, and goodbye.